Welcome back to Color Quest, a series of brief but informational videos where I teach you all about color theory. Today we'll be learning all about color context as well as the colors black and white. Color context is how colors interact with each other. This can include the following questions and more. How do two colors look next to each other? How does one color look surrounded by another color? Does the color look bigger or smaller? Does it look like a different hue entirely? All these questions are related to color context and how a color interacts with another color. We'll use red as an example for this. Let's look at red and black, orange, white, and cyan. What do you notice about the color red using the questions that I showed previously? Feel free to pause the video and think about what you notice about color red on all of these different colors. When I look at this, red against the black looks bigger, as well as true red that I actually put in that square. Red against orange looks darker as well as physically smaller. Red against white looks darker as well as smaller. And the red against cyan looks lighter as well as physically bigger compared to the other red squares. Let's look at another example, such as purple. This time let's compare it against two other shades of purple. Notice what happens to these colors. Again, feel free to pause the video and notice what changes about the original purple. This time I won't go into my own observations, but feel free to share in the comments below and see what other people notice. When creating a piece of art, double check that you're getting the right effect that you want to. When looking at colors on top of other colors, what do you notice? How does that impact your image or design? The most important part of color context is to experiment and keep trying new combinations. Next, we'll be taking a look at black and white. The main question that everyone wants to know is, are black and white colors? And there's two theories to this. These two theories are known as additive and subtractive color theories. Let's look at the additive color theory first, which is that all the colors combine or add up to white. Black is just the absence of color. This comes from photography and developing photos. When developing photos, in a dark room there's no photons of light, therefore there's no photons of color. Since white is all the colors added together, it is a color even though it appears colorless. This theory goes hand in hand with a prism. White light going through a prism creates all the colors of the rainbow, and vice versa. All the colors of the rainbow going through a prism creates white. The subtractive color theory is essentially the opposite of additive. All the colors combine or subtract to make black. When painting as a child, something you might have done is combine all the paint, where you probably got a very dark color, normally a very dark brown or maybe a dark gray. Mixing physical color pigments is where the subtractive theory can be explained, such as the printing industry. In the printing industry, they use the CMYK color profile. CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, which is black. When you mix cyan, magenta, and yellow in a printer, the result is black. So, what's the answer to our question of are black and white colors? In the end, there is no answer to this question. All colors we see are simply just wavelengths being reflected into our eyes, so the answer can be both. Like we just learned, it could also depend on what you're doing. If you're printing onto a physical item using ink, it's likely that you're using the CMYK color profile, which is the subtractive theory. If you are painting using a digital drawing program like Photoshop, it's likely you're using the RGB color profile, which is the additive theory. And that's all for part 3 of our Color Quest series. I hope you learned something new. The next video will be more about the RGB and CMYK color profiles. Stay tuned and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.